the darkest day of the United States happened in the morning of September 11, 2001. The deadliest terrorist attack in human history, where almost 3,000 people had perished. Al-Qaeda, an Islamic extremist organization founded by Osama bin Laden in the late 1980s. It was initially a logistical network to support Muslims fighting against the Soviet Union during the Afghan War. It eventually became a group who declared holy war against the United States as opposed to its foreign policy. In the morning of September 11, in the middle of a normal day in Manhattan, New York, Flight 11 of American Airlines crashes into the North Tower of the World Trade Center by hijackers. The impacts left a burning hole near the 80th floor of the 110-story tower, killing all the passengers including pilot and hijackers instantly due to impact. Not an hour later, another aircraft, Flight 175, crashes into the South Tower of the World Trade Center between the 77th and 85th floors. The collision caused an explosion that showered debris over surrounding buildings and below. At around 9:37 a.m. of the same day, 5 hijackers crashed American Airlines Flight 77 to the western side of Pentagon, damaging it and causing a large fire, killing 184 people. Then, another plane, Flight 93, crashed hijackers into a field southeast of Pittsburgh, missing the target. At 9:55 a.m., the South Tower of WTC collapsed due to continuous burning in the fire caused by the impact. Then at 10:28 a.m., the North Tower also collapsed with falling debris all over the area. The attack killed 2,996 people, including the 19 terrorists and the 24 victims whose remains have never been recovered. Osama bin Laden, the leader of Al-Qaeda, was shot and killed inside his private compound in Abbottabad, Pakistan by the US Navy under Barack Obama's presidency in 2011.
We better get out of the way!
Airship LZ-129 Hindenberg was a large German commercial passenger carrying rigid airship. The lead ship of the Hindenberg class, the longest class of a flying machine and the largest airship by envelope volume. It was designed and built by the Zeppelin Company and operated by the German Zeppelin Airline Company. After opening its 1937 season by completing a single round-trip passage to Rio de Janeiro, Brazil in late March, the Hindenburg departed from Frankfurt, Germany on the evening of May 3, on the first of 10 round trips between Europe and the United States that were scheduled for its second year of commercial service. Around 7 in the evening local time, at an altitude of 650 feet, the Hindenburg made its final approach to the Lakehurst Naval Air Station. This was to be a high landing known as a flying moor, because the airship would drop its landing ropes and mooring cable at a high altitude, and then be winched down to the mooring mast. At 7:25 in the evening, a few witnesses saw the fabric ahead of the upper fin flapper as gas were leaking. It was caught on fire and was destroyed during its attempt to dock with its morning mast. As the tail of the Hindenburg crashed into the ground, a burst of flame came out of the nose. Most of the fabric of the hull had also burned away and the bow finally crashed to the ground, killing 9 of the 12 crew members. Here is the Hindenburg disaster footage from newsreel.
Starting to rain again, and the rain had slacked up a little bit. They backloaded the ship, but just holding it just enough to keep it from It bursts into flames. Get it started. It's right, and it's right. It's right. Terrible. Oh, my. Get out of the way, please. It's bursting into flames, and it's falling on the morning fast, and all the folks agree that this is terrible. This is one of the worst catastrophes in the world. Oh, it's like 400 or 500 feet into the sky, and it's a terrific crash, ladies and gentlemen. The smoke and it's flames now, and the frame is crashing to the ground, not quite to the mooring mast. All the humanity and all the fans are screaming around it. I can't.
The significance of the world facing the greatest calamities is that it reminds us, despite our efforts, these events will never stop until we realize to do the right thing. We'll be seeing more of earthquakes, famine, pandemics, volcanic eruptions, heat waves, wildfires, avalanches, and storms as the effect of our own wrongdoings. Especially the storm. And one of them is called a super typhoon, a kind of storm that could reach a wind speed of 190 km per hour. It frequently occurs in the Western Pacific Ocean, and one of the most affected by this event is the Philippines. One of the strongest super typhoons ever recorded in history made a landfall in the Philippines in November of 2013. Haiyan, local name Yolanda, has a wind speed of more than 300 km per hour. Before making a landfall, Joint Typhoon Warning Center began monitoring it on November 2 as a low-pressure area. And as early as November 3, the LPA became tropical depression as classified by Japan Meteorological Agency or JMA. The system quickly intensified into a tropical storm, prompting the JMA to assign it the name Haiyan and later became a typhoon. On November 6, Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical and Astronomical Services Administration named it locally as Yolanda as it approached the Philippine Area of Responsibility. JTWC later specified it as super typhoon reaching up to 230 km per hour on November 7. Haiyan made landfall in the Philippines on November 8 as a Category 5 storm. It laid waste to the Visayas group of islands, the country's central region, and home to 17 million people. Local governments conducted preemptive evacuations to declare class suspensions in various parts of the country. As it makes a landfall, Yolanda destroys a huge part of eastern Visayas, triggering heavy rains that cause widespread flooding, landslide, and a power cut-off. Late in summer in eastern Visayas was the most affected with the landfall, where almost complete destruction was reported. More than 6,000 people are reported dead. Approximately 2 million people are affected in 41 provinces across the region. Hundreds are missing and thousands are injured. Widespread damage to infrastructure is seen due to the deadliest storm ever recorded in the country.
Kasama niyang ulan na kung ano-anong direksyon na dinadala nitong malakas na hangin dito sa going downtown.
Makalipas ang halos 30 minuto, nag-report muli sa atin ng live mula na sa loob ng gusali. Wow!
The space mission is probably one of the most anticipated parts of the world's history, from the first successful man-made space station to launching of the first man on the moon. For over centuries, the space race has been a symbol of nations' technical advantage, especially for the United States and Union Soviet. Several artificial satellites have been sent out space for different missions with successful outcomes. But there are also many attempts where it went horribly wrong. Challenger is a space shuttle that was assigned with the primary goal with launching the second tracking and data relay satellite, carrying the Spartan Halley spacecraft that was to be released to observe Halley's comet as it approaches close to the Sun. In January of 1986, the Space Shuttle Challenger was set to be released amidst the unusual cold weather condition that reaches almost -1 degree, the minimum temperature permitted to launch a spacecraft. The temperature on that day of the launch was far lower than had been the case with previous launches. Nonetheless, the launch has started. Many people were excited seeing the launch as the space program was being televised on the TV screen on their homes and schools for a once-in-a-lifetime view, apart from the people who are on the actual place of the event. Most of it were children in school since the shuttle will be carrying the first teacher to give lessons while in orbit. As the engine started, it was smooth and people were stunned as it lifted up to the sky. Just 73 seconds into its flight, the space shuttle suddenly broke apart, releasing a huge amount of smoke to the sky. The spacecraft disintegrated over the Atlantic Ocean off the coast of Cape Canaveral, Florida, killing all its 7 crew members aboard. As per the investigation, the failure was caused by the failure of O-ring seals used in the joint that were not designed to handle the unusually cold conditions that existed at this launch. This catastrophic event has been a part of the U.S. space program history.
And liftoff of the 25th Space Shuttle mission, and it has cleared the tower.
Roger, roll, Challenger. Roll program confirmed. Challenger now heading downrange. Beginning throttling down now at 94%. Normal throttle.
Explosions, may it be chemical, biological, radiation, nuclear, or explosive hazard explosions, created devastating effects on mankind. Just like what happened in Beirut port in Lebanon on August 4, 2020. It all started back in 2013 when the Resus, a Russian-owned vessel, departed from Georgia en route to Mozambique, carrying 2,750 tons of ammonium nitrate. The company that manages the Mozambican port says it was never notified of any such cargo arriving. Some sources said it was forced to port due to mechanical issues and possibly engine issues. Lebanese authorities refused to let the ship leave, claiming it was unseaworthy. The ship's former captain also said it was stopped due to unpaid port fees costing $100,000. The heavy machinery was stacked on top of the doors to the cargo space containing the ammonium nitrate, causing the doors to buckle, which damaged the ship. The ship was abandoned after the company who owned it went bankrupt and eventually ran out of provisions, and some of the crews of the ship were unable to disembark due to immigration issues and restrictions. For the years that the ship was hanging over Beirut port, custom officials have sent letters to judges requesting a resolution to the issue of the confiscated cargo, proposing that the ammonium nitrate be either exported or sold to the private Lebanese explosives company. On 27 June 2014, the then director of Lebanese Customs sent a letter to an urgent matters judge warning of the danger of the ammonium nitrate and asking for a ruling on what should be done with it. Until the early of 2020, a team reportedly inspected the ammonium nitrate months before the explosion and warned that it would blow up all of Beirut when not removed. In the early evening local time on August 4, a fire believed to be in a fireworks factory led to a small explosion. It sent up a large cloud of smoke and crackle of bright fireworks flashes and heavily damaged the structure of the warehouse. About 30 seconds later, there was a massive explosion that sent a mushroom cloud into the air and supersonic blast wave radiating through the city.
The impact was intense, rippling through the several areas of the capital and could be heard 149 miles away on the island of Cyprus. It leaves significant damage to the city's infrastructure, affecting homes and businesses. 203 people were reportedly killed due to this incident.